Krishna Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Gurudev. Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much for joining us today. We're looking forward to hearing you.
It's always a pleasure whenever I can. So we said 7:30 Indian time, so 7:30 should be. We begin now. We don't wait. The other devotees, they will arrive, hopefully. Namam Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Om Jnanati Mirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadam Ayandadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrachatam Saha Ganara Gunatam Vitantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitam Cha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabando Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gorangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhyayavacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Vayam Tuna Vitripyama Uttama Shloka Vikrame Yachrimvatam Rasagyanam Svadu Svadu Pade Pade. One can never be satiated, even though one continuously hears the transcendental pastimes of Krishna, who is glorified by excellent prayers. Those who have entered into the transcendental relationship with Krishna relish at every step the descriptions of the pastimes of the Lord. So this is my favorite verse of all the Srimad Bhagavatam. And you can find it in Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1st, Chapter 1, verse number 19. So we had several questions, and I thank you very much for having put these questions. So now I will tell you what questions I received, by whom, so we can decide who we start with. I think we are going to cover all of them, but just as a matter of etiquette, maybe we should start with the question that was put first. Anyway, we had two questions about prasadam, one by Bhakti Nebi, and the other one is by Yamuna. Then we had a question about morality and silence. That was a question by Lavanga. Then another question from Govinda about humility. and the other one is about Radharani marriage in very young age. So where you want to start with?
Radharani.
Okay, let's start with Radharani after we answer Abby's question, because she was the first one to do that, I think. So first of all, nowhere is found the age of Radharani when he married with Abhimanyu. There's simply no information about this. There are many speculation that I read around. Speculation means things that cannot be true, because if you read certain places in the Shastra, you can see that it must be wrong. But somebody says, well, I don't want to say things that cannot be right. But Radharani was very, very, very young, very, very young when she was married with Krishna, so much so that we find pastimes in a book that you know very well. You should have read the book Sri Chamakarachandrika. All of you read Chamakarachandrika? Yamuna Bhattinebi, did you read this book? You should. You should. So you find that Krishna was very, very young at that time, and already Abhimanyu was mentioned. So that means Radharani was very, very young, very, very young. We cannot say a date, but surely younger than 10 years old. Somebody says older, but this cannot be right. So at that time, marriage was different from us. People get married today because they like each other. Normally, the attraction is physical. So we cannot marry at 8 years old because there is no physical attraction. But we start feeling attracted. And often this attraction, physical and let's say psychological or emotional, you like the way another person is. This is the base of disaster, because nothing will remain. The body will not remain attractive. Men's body and women's body, they will not remain attracted. Very soon it will become very unattractive. And the subtle personality to which we feel attracted also will go away, because after a while you get tired of the other person. You know, the same voice, the same face, the same thing. And so with time, the attraction will go away. Also because when we are young, we try to lie. You know, physically, the women put everything and the man goes around, you know, with muscles, etc. We cheat each other so that we can get the prey. After a while, we don't need anymore to attract the prey, because it's already preyed. It's already conquered. So women, they don't make up anymore, and men started to come out with a huge belly and all these things. So the attraction go away. It's a cheating process. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is called the cheating, Kaitava Dharma, which means cheating. Of course, I understand that at a young age it's very difficult to see this, no? But if one is intelligent, and this is a philosophy for intelligent people, you can see. You can see not by direct perception, because when you are 20 years old, you get a beautiful boy, a beautiful girl, and is kind, she's humble, etc. But if someone is intelligent, then can see that this cannot last. And nobody can be happy with something that will not last. Of course, there is a possibility that it will last the whole life. But this life is not the only life we have. This is the real cheating again, by Maya, who says, okay, yes, your husband will become fat and your wife will become very unattractive in each other. But at least, you can enjoy one lifetime. Yes, but our philosophers say there is not only one lifetime. Next lifetime will depend what you do in this lifetime. Yam yamba pismaram bhavam tyajate ante kalevaram. Your next life depends from the state of consciousness, not what you remember at the time of death. No, your state of consciousness at the time of death. And your state of consciousness depends on what you did for the whole life. So you cannot say, okay, let me enjoy now and in the future I will. No, because what you did in your young age counts. It will not be cancelled. It will not be forgotten by Maya or by Yamaraj. It's there. You have to pay. Just like you may not remember or not. You go to a restaurant, you get to pay. You say, oh, I didn't know that I had to pay. Yes, you ate and now you have to pay. You enjoy in this material world, now you have to pay. So at that time, the idea of marriage was very different because it was not based on physical or psychological attraction, was based on something else, was based on dharma. On dharma. You married a woman or a man that it is compatible with you, is compatible with your class. Someone says, oh, class, that's bad. No, it's not bad. Because I tell you one thing, I don't want to spend time with people who talks about war. I don't want to talk, I don't want to waste time with people talking about money. I don't know, because I am a different person. So if I get married with somebody who has no interest with what I am or what I do or what I'm talking about, I will never be happy. In the beginning, she will try or he will try to appear interested, but it doesn't last again. I have a personal experience. I'm not criticizing my wife. She's a wonderful woman, a wonderful devotee. But that is my experience with not only my wife, but also other devotees. Since I've been a devotee, been preaching, associating with women and men for more than half a century, so I have a lot of experience with this. So that's why at the Vedic time, men and women, they will marry very, very young, very, very young. Rukmini was 8 years old. And you say, 8 years old. How can somebody 8 years old that can choose his husband? Well, she got Krishna as a husband. The thing is right, whatever you understand that is right. This is the point. And somebody can tell you who is right and who is wrong better than you. We had a lot of experience in our movement getting married people with nothing to do with the other one, with no interest whatsoever. That's why we have a high rate of divorce even in our movement. People criticize, you are supposed to be a spiritual movement, but man, you got a lot of divorce in your room. Why? Because because the spiritual life was not the center of marriage. So if you want to be happy in your marriage, the concept of marriage should not be physical or psychological attraction. Otherwise, the possibility of failure is very high. And you are going to suffer a lot of pain because when you dream, oh, my wife, oh, my husband, and then everything breaks up, you're going to experience a lot of pain. And pain is not a good thing. So cultural differences that make something. Oh, you should have read your question. Not easily accepted in the West. It is only because the Lord's divine nature that this behavior with Radha and other young girl is acceptable. What happened between Krishna and the gopis, Radharani, the first of the gopis, has nothing to do with um, material morality. It was totally transcendental. So let's don't talk about that at all. So during the Vedic time, morality is that a woman or a man marries only one time, you know. Apart from some class of men who can marry more than one woman because he has the possibility to do it, you know. Like in our movement, there were some, during Prabhupada times, there were devotees asking, oh, Prabhupada, why, the Mahabharata, all our books talks about polygamy. Why don't we have polygamy in our movement? And Srila Prabhupada said, okay, but you maintain her, you maintain them. You got to get a job. We are not going to maintain your 2, 3, 4 wives with 7, 8, 9 children. You do the children, you maintain them. So after Srila Prabhupada explained that in our movement should physically live, only what in the past was called not appropriately, but in a sense it was appropriate, the Grihastha Brahmachari. When I got married for the first time, I didn't have a house, I didn't have an apartment. I slept in the Brahmachari ashram and my wife slept in the Brahmacharini ashram. So we were Brahmachari but married. You see. Then it started to come out the thing, yes, now we want children. If you want children, you cannot make them in the temple. You have to have your own house. Because children, they have the right to be children, which means screams, yelling and do the whole kinds of mess and dirty toys everywhere. Do children, you get the house, you pay the rent and everything. So this is the way of organizing a society, keeping the spiritual principle on one side, but then the material principle, quote unquote, material, practical way of building a Vaishnava society. So Grihastha, who wants children, they should have a house. And what age the girl in the West? I don't think we should have underage girls marrying, because in the West it's totally unacceptable. But in India, it's a totally different culture. You cannot judge a culture looking at it with your culture, because it's a different culture. Don't, if you want to understand Indian culture, you have to come here, take birth here, understand how women think, how men think, how the society is organized, especially in holy places. Then you understand. Just like one time I was talking about, this has nothing to do with a philosophy, but let me say it, So one devotee says, when I was living in Texas, people were saying, oh, in Texas, everybody has guns. This is not good, it's not safe. I say, well, first of all, it's not true that everybody has guns, There's a lot of people have guns. But then I said, what do you think about that? I said, look, I travel Texas from north to south, from east to, I tell you one thing, I would like to have a gun, because the thing is so vast. You have a problem, you call the police, they arrive after everything is done. nobody will arrive to defend you. So I understand living in Texas, you know, maybe living in the center of the city is not so necessary, but living in such a huge place, Texas is 3 times Italy, and it has a half of inhabitants of Italy. So that means that for hours you drive, you meet nobody. It's a desert, nothing. You don't see anything. So if you live in Texas, it's different. I'm telling you this just because it is very important to judge other culture after we have known deeply the other culture. We cannot judge with Western mentality the Eastern mentality. They are totally different. Okay, so if you have any question on this, otherwise we go to the second question.
Thank you very much. You answered the question very well. Thank you.
Okay, so we go.
Thank you very much. You answered the question very well. Thank you.
Yes. Now let's go to prasadam. But in Abby, do you want to read your question?
Oh, I don't have it right in front of me. But I kind of got answered, but my question was, since prasadam is non-different from Krishna,
Right.
is all prasadam equally potent? Like, is
Yeah.
my prasadam the same as the temple's prasadam?
Yeah. For
Yeah.
example, I will read it. I offer prasada to my deities at home sincerely, but forget to say final Mahaprasad prayer to honor the prasadam. Is the prasadam I offered equally potent to the prasada offered by a twice initiated devotee to the temple deities who have a high service standard? Part 2 of your question. Is prasadam from which the devotees grew the food themselves more potent? There are different kinds of answer to this question. It's not yes or not. Of course, we can say, let's start from the simpler type of answer with this patram pushpam phalantoyam yome bhaktya prayachati tadaham bhaktuparitam asnami prayatatmanaham. If one offers me with love and devotion a leaf, a flower, a fruit, or water, I will accept it. There is a word here that in a couple of minutes I'm going to analyze it deeper. And so there is also another story, very nice, that Srila Prabhupada was telling, and I want to read to you. Devotional service is always good. And this is a story told personally by Srila Prabhupada. There was a professional dancer who used to give performances at various venues, including outdoor stages. After one of the performances, a friend asked him, "Did you dance last night?" "No, I couldn't," the dancer replied. When his friend, surprised, asked him why, the dancer replied, "There was a mound." In other words, as the situation was not ideal, the dancer did not perform his role. But Prabhupada said that he was not a real dancer. A real dancer would have danced as if the mound was part of the stage. And even if his performance wasn't so perfect, a true dancer would have danced under any circumstances. Likewise, a devoted disciple will carry out his work even if the conditions are not perfect. So this is the second answer to your question. I will give you a third. Srila Prabhupada once told the story of a rat who was freed by the material world for offering service to Vishnu. The rat was running over the altar of the deity just as one of the ghee lamps was about to go off. The rat thought the wick was supposed to be something edible, so he thought that he could eat it. So he inserted his whiskers into the lamp. The mortal flame burned the rat whiskers by burning part of the wick that had not yet burned. Thus, and he died. Thus, thanks to the absurd sacrifice of the rat, the flame of the altar of Vishnu kept burning. And for this service to Krishna, the rat went to Vaikuntha. And this is the strength of devotional service to Krishna, even if done unconsciously. In other words, if you do service even not knowing what to speak about, knowing, you cook your food vegetarian, then you offer it in the best of your possibilities, then Krishna cannot but appreciate it. However, there is a very important, a very important word in the Sanskrit verse that I mentioned before that I want to talk about a little bit. The Patram Pushpam Palantoyam verse. What is the verse? What do you think it is the word that gave us the opportunity to talk a little more? Patram Pushpam Palantoyam Yome Bhaktya Prayachati. Krishna accepted that you had to have love. So, of course, some love is always there. If you cook thinking, I'm going to offer it to Krishna, some love is there. But then, in your question, there is something that made me think. You said, is this equally potent to the prasada offered by the twice initiated devotee? So why you are not twice initiated? So if there is initiation in our culture, there is a reason. We don't do anything in our philosophy that is superficial, that is useless. If there is initiation, it is important. So much so that Srila Prabhupada once said that being initiated and not being initiated is not the same thing. There is a gulf of difference. And this is what Prabhupada said. What to speak about twice initiated. So although it is a matter of fact that I'm using you because you made a question, anyone, if it's not initiated, cooks with some love, because if you are not some kind of love, why you should offer it? Still, our philosophy has meaning. If in the first 10 items, which are more important, there is a list of more important items in the Nectar of Devotion, and the first 5 is about the Guru. The first 5 trees about the Guru. Why? Because without the Guru, you don't go back to Krishna. This is a matter of fact. So you had to find your spiritual master, get initiated, get twice initiated, and then your offering is a matter of security. It will be sure that it will be better. Why? Because if you have some love, then you should get initiated. If you don't get initiated because something it's missing, you see. So our process is a complete process. We should not pick something and put every other aspect of our philosophy aside. We should take the whole process. Then it works. It works very, very quickly, and it worked wonderfully. So, and there are also other questions, that For instance, bhaktya prayachate. You should put some love. So what is love? Huh? Do we have love? Can we actually cook and offer with love the love that Krishna intended when he said, when he recited this verse? Or that love is something different? How much love our love is, what percentage of spiritual love, the love that Krishna was intending, how much our love is zero? Our love is useless? Of course not. Of course it's, but that love that you put in cooking and offering to Krishna should enthuse you to do more and to do better. In this case, we spoke about initiation, but also we should talk about, I don't know you, I saw you a couple of times in San Antonio, so I don't have the knowledge of who you are and what you do, but chanting the rounds and studying philosophy, and yes, coming to these video conferences, you should continue coming. It's just a click and you sit down and I talk, I do the work and you enjoy, hopefully. So, yes, all these things are a complete process. And our process is wonderful, is very nice, and you should do always more and always better. So, to conclude, um, your prasada is prasadam, but I cannot say if it is prasada or not, because is Krishna accepting or not? And Krishna knows what kind of love, how much love is in your heart. So when you cook and offer it, try to remember Krishna, the devotees, the philosophy, so that your service will be the more appreciated by Krishna. Because sometimes we have a lot of material motives to do things, you know, and Krishna, we can cheat devotees, we can cheat, but we cannot cheat Krishna. So the real conclusion, yes, continue cooking for Krishna. Yes, continue to offer it. And about the mantras, because you mentioned about the Mahaprasada Govinde verse. Again, if you can recite a whole verse and you don't do it, that's not good. But if you don't recite it, you don't recite it because you can't. Like we are with people, they don't understand what you are doing. They think this is crazy, and your parents, whatever, so many circumstances. Then that is not offensive because there is a reason. So one time, one devotee said he was a very rich man. He said, I want to give you a donation of $100. What do you think about this donation? And he was millionaire. I said, no, I don't accept it. Because you are a millionaire who give me $100. What is this? If a person, I have disciples that they don't have money that they are giving me, or they have it, but they could be using it, but they give it to me anyway. Why? Because they are devotees, they want to. So you should do the maximum that you can do, and you cannot pretend, or you cannot find an excuse for not doing it because Krishna will accept anyway, because I put love and devotion. Okay? So do the best that you actually can. That's okay, my answer?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, so the second is answer. Now I would like, actually, since Batin Abbey wrote a note saying that she was interested in hearing about humility, and this is the question by Govinda. I will answer to this question. So there is a verse. This is the third verse of the Shikshastaka. Ashta means 8, and Shiksha means instructions. So 8 instructions that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu left. The third, and it actually the first, because the first 2 are introduction. You know, the first talks about the Sankirtan, how important is Sankirtan. The second talks about the names of Krishna, how many names, how important. But he begins giving instructions on what to do in the third. Trinada Pisunichana, Tarora Pisa Ishnuna, Amanina Manadena, Kirtaniya Sadahari. Sada means always, but not always, but not always. Means also of quality. Okay? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said we should be very humble. So humble, like a grass, how you say, the grass, a grass?
A blade of grass.
A blade of grass. Because when we walk, we aplastamos, we smash, and the blade of grass does not say, "Oh, you rascal, you know, I am a blade of grass. Why you're not? Why do you don't walk somewhere else?" He doesn't say anything, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu does this example of the blade of grass. You can do anything to him, and it will not protest. So this level of humbleness is something that we cannot even understand because we have because we think to be very important, because there is a lot of sense of privacy. That's me, my space, my intelligence. I can talk. You should listen, you know, like this, you know. But this is not the I-ness in English. This is correct. So the principle, the concept of I is really not good for spiritual life. In 1 minute, I will explain better, which does not mean to cancel your I. So it's not good because you cannot love another person if you think that you are more important than the other person or the love that you are exchanging with the other person. When you are in love with somebody, what do? Are you arrogant? You go, you know, I am this and that. I am more beautiful than you. I'm more in the. Do you do this? Somebody answer. No, because you love.
No, you serve.
Huh?
You only offering serve.
Yes. At the end, you offer in service because you love, and you know that being arrogant, being presumptuous, being this, it's not part of love. Love is sweet. Love is you give more importance to the other than to yourself because you love him. And then love, what do you do when you love somebody? What can I do for you? And this is called bhakti. Bhakti means I love Krishna, and therefore I serve Krishna. But now I don't love Krishna, somebody asked Prabhupada 1,000 times. You know? So what about if I don't love Krishna? And then Srila Prabhupada said, pretend to love. And you cannot pretend to love, pretend to love. In other words, love by intelligence and not by heart. You serve Krishna not because you love Krishna, because you understand that it will be better or would be better to love Krishna. And you can get loving Krishna if you serve Krishna, because it purifies your heart, purify your mind, and then one day you will be actually be able to love, actually love Krishna. So the you cannot love Krishna if you're not humble. Kirtaniya Sadahari. You cannot Kirtaniya, no, chant Hari, the name of Krishna, Sada, if you are not Trinada, Pisunichana, Sarora, Pisa, Ishnuna, Amanina, Manadena, Kirtan. You cannot. You chant, but it's not chanting, it's not pure chanting, it's mixed, Mishra Bhakti. Mishra Bhakti means mixed with other elements which are not entirely and purely spiritual. So if you are not pure, what you do? That's sadhana bhakti. What is sadhana bhakti? Sadhana bhakti means the discipline that will help you to develop bhakti, sadhana bhakti. Bhakti in practice. So why somebody should try to love Krishna doing some kind of chanting Hare Krishna, all these things, because of intelligence, because of buddhi. You understand the philosophy. You don't have love for Krishna, but you understand that it would be good to love Krishna. And then say, okay, I am totally convinced by your wonderful philosophy, the philosophy of the acharyas, etc. Then I will try. By trying, you will see the results, gradual results, not immediate results, not complete result, but you start to feel something. At the beginning, you are in ecstasy chanting Hare Krishna. That's material, because you are, you say in English, alivio?
Relief.
Relief. Because you are in the material world, everything is wrong. You're getting old, you're getting sick, your husband leaves you, your wife leaves you, the children, they grow up, they don't care about you, you got money problem, all kind. This is the normal material life. If somebody will tell me everything is perfect in my life, I won't believe it. But it might be a good karma, but I really won't believe it. So then when somebody comes in Krishna consciousness, he feels relieved. Oh, now I chant. I'm in this beautiful place. The devotees are so nice, so kind. They are cleaned they're clean physically, they are clean by words, they're clean mentally, and chanting and prasad is good, all these things. But then after some time, you become too familiar with devotees, with the process, and then the taste go down after the fact, up to the point that you don't feel anything chanting Hare Krishna or going to the temple. And that's why so many people, millions of people, they come to the temple and they never come back, or they come back after so many years. Okay? Because the taste go down. But this is what it makes you strong. When you feel that your taste or Krishna consciousness go down, that's the moment that you had to work to recuperate the taste. And how to recuperate the taste? There are so many ways. Service and other types of service, the guru, the devotees, my spiritual, doing some service is very important, philosophy also is very important. So in this process, especially when you accept, are initiated by a spiritual master, then, and you have God brothers and God sisters, you will be put at a test, because normally the guru chastise the disciples. Bad gurus like me are not able to do it. But good gurus, they chastise disciples. Oh, my guru is so hard. So he chastised me for everything. And so that is the greatest blessing. And we have so many examples in our um, in our um, in our history, in our how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu chastised Advaita Acharya so harshly, so harsh. He called him a Mayavadi. And Advaita Acharya said, I wrote a stupid book to be chastised by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You know, and there is another very nice. There are so many examples. Srila Prabhupada destroyed a few of his disciples. When I was in his presence, I was terrified that Srila Prabhupada would chastise me. He never did. You know, but some of my brothers would tell me, "Oh, when Prabhupada gets angry, you know, better you go somewhere else, you know." But actually, this is not good. You should, because this is the way to become humble. When the guru tells you you are wrong, you don't do this, why you didn't do it, you know, like this. And if the guru does not chastise you because he sees that you are not very advanced spiritually, this is the truth. Because if he chastises you, you're not advanced enough, then he knows you will fall down. He doesn't want you to fall down. He's waiting that you advance enough to give you a push to become humble. If you are humble, you chant Hare Krishna better. If you are not humble, your chanting is not so good. So, in the experience in our movement is traumatic in many cases. He goes in a temple, is chastised, and is not treated with regard and this and that. You know, I received in my more than half a century experience in our movement, I received thousands of, and I continue to say, this is a good moment when you are criticized, even if you are right. This is a good moment because you become humble. But sometimes the devotees cannot do it. They go away. They never go back to it. This is wrong. And I continue to say that it is wrong. First of all, you have to understand that temple is the school. If you go to a school and you find that a student does a mistake, you don't think that the school is wrong. You don't think that the books are wrong. You don't think that the professor is wrong. He's a student. A student do mistakes. If it's a student who won't do mistake, he was not a student, he was a professor. So when you go to a temple, you have to understand that you are with other students. And some students are more advanced than you, obviously. And some students are like you, and some other students are less than you. More advanced students, you have to be very respectful. Like you should be friendly. And the less advanced student, you have to teach. But don't do the mistake of going away and don't go back to the temple. This is the greatest mistake of your spiritual life because you are throwing away your best chance of advancing in spiritual life. And your ego will scream, no, I don't want to go because he did this, he did that, you know. That's Maya screaming in your heart. Don't be a victim of Maya. So to conclude, how to become humble? You become humble by being humble. There is no magic wand. Just like, how can I be muscular? How you say? Professor?
Muscular.
Muscular. Are you to be muscular? Yes, you can hear philosophy how to be muscular, but unless you don't go to a gym, philosophy works up to a certain point. And that being with people who does not respect you, there's a big chance. Krishna, thank you. Thank you, because when everybody praises you, you know, it's very it's very nice to be humble, you know? It's easy because you are good, you are intelligent, oh, thank you I'm very humble, you know? I am the most humble in the world. But when everybody tells you you are a nonsense, this is wrong, your classes are horrible, and etc., then it comes the moment, the test comes, and you have to win over Maya. Maya is testing you. Don't become a victim of Maya. So go to a temple and associate with devotees. Somebody will respect you, somebody that will not respect you, and but be always thankful to be with devotees. And somebody can say, well, I would like to be with pure devotees. Who doesn't want to be with pure devotees? Obviously, everybody wants to be with pure devotees, but sometimes the devotees are not so pure. So should we reject devotees who are not pure? Only one case. Please, all of you, tell me what is the case that you have to reject a devotee. But in Abby, you don't know. Govinda is too philosophically. Bueno, everybody is a pandit here. Okay, tell me. In one case. Govinda.
I don't I if the guru says
Oh my God, you never
If they're offensive to the
offensive.
oh
Yeah, offensive. Aparadis. Aparadis means when you see a devotee offending other devotees, be careful not to be you, that person, offending the deities, offending Prabhupada, offending ISKCON. Oh, ISKCON is not good. It's not. Well, you try to do better. You know, I was just 2 days ago, I was discussing with uh, my god brother, one of very important god brothers at GBC in ISKCON. And I was holding the point that since there was some discussion that I will not, I will not deal with it now, and there was somebody saying, "Oh, you are not very trained, you don't know Sanskrit, etc., etc." Other movement, like we were mentioning, the Ramanuja means the movement of Ramanuj, they are there, been there for 800 years. We have been here for 50 years. And they were born Vaishnavas in India, Vaishnava. We were born in New York. We were born in Rome. We were born in stupid cities that have no sense whatsoever from this. My mother's name is Maria and my father is Roberto. What do you pretend from me? Give me time. So we will arrive at that point after 200 years, maybe 100 years, 200 years. So we will have devotees, gurus, sannyasis who know Sanskrit, who can tell you the whole Bhagavad Gita by memory, etc., etc. But according to where we started, consider that Srila Prabhupada went away after 10 years. Srila Prabhupada left me after 3 years that I was a devotee, and I saw him only once. We are doing very good because many devotees were saying that our movement should shut down, completely shut down the doors and go away. Without Prabhupada, we could not survive. Not only we survived, we thrived. We have more temple now that with Srila Prabhupada been present by his mercy, because the Guru, the Acharya's mercy does not come only with vapu, means the physical presence, but also is a transcendental presence. It works. So I think we should be proud of what we are doing. We are doing the best? No. We are doing the worst? No. We are doing somewhere in the middle, but we should love our temples. doesn't matter. Some temple is very good, some temple is a little less good, but we should love our temples, our deities, whatever we are able to do anyway, because Krishna will appreciate your feeling of appreciation for other devotees. It doesn't matter who the other devotees are, what our temple is, if a big temple, a small temple, etc., etc. Because it's very easy to appreciate a big temple like in Vrindavan here. Sometimes there are so many people that I cannot enter into. If I enter, I cannot get out. There are so many people. So it's very easy to, oh, Vrindavan is wonderful. But then when you go in a very small temple, oh, this is not a good temple. No, it's a good temple. It's a very good temple. The devotees are trying to do their best. Okay, so this is where humility comes, remembering that we have to appreciate what any temple, any devotee tell us. And when the devotees are disrespectful, say, thank you, Krishna, you gave me the opportunity to be humble. It's okay as an answer?
Yes, Guru Maharaj is more than okay. Thank you very much.
All right, so I will now answer about morality and silence, which is a very nice question by Mataji Lavanga. She mentioned a verse, which is the 1038 verse of the Bhagavad Gita. And this verse say, among all means of suppressing lawlessness, I am punishment, and of those who seek victory, I am morality. Of secret things, I am silence, and of the wise, I am the wisdom. So why seeking victory with morality is better than seeking victory in an immoral way? I think it's not difficult to understand, because we think only, atheistic people think that doesn't matter how I get my victory, the important thing is to get victory. Because there is no judgment, there is no God, there is no Yamara, there is no karma, there is nothing, so it doesn't matter. But we know that this is not true. We know that there is karma. We know that our immoral victory will be a victory you will pay very harshly. So it's better to lose in a moral way than to win in an immoral way. And we have so many examples in the Mahabharata that you should read, etc., etc. So if someone accepts the principle that this is not my only life, that some other life, that there is karma, that there is the devas, that there is justice, that there is, then our victory should always be moral. And what is morality? Well, this would take not one class, but I would take the Mahabharata. Read the Mahabharata. Mahabharata is a book mainly by talking about morality, how to do things. And if you read the Mahabharata, not just as a story, but a teaching story that teaches you how to behave, then this is morality. And Krishna teaches us a morality. So let's talk about silence. You can say, you have been talking for 1 hour and a half, and now you talk about silence. Shut up. No, silence doesn't mean not to talk. Silence means only talking about Krishna. And this is because silence is good for wisdom. So if you don't say anything, how can you impart wisdom? The only way to impart wisdom is to talk about wisdom, talk about wise principles, wise words. And so if you don't have anything to say, don't speak. just be silent, because every word that you say that is not spiritual, Srila Prabhupada makes the example of the toad doing all day long, crack, 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 crack. The toad is the word, the animal that are crack, crack, crack.
Yeah, like a toad,
Yes.
a frog.
A frog, crack, crack, crack. And the frog is thinking, I am singing, because that's the frog singing. But what happens? It happens that the snakes, they hear the frog, and then they attack. So when we talk about something unnecessary that is called prajalpa, then time goes away. You're never going to recuperate. Every second that you don't dedicate to Krishna, that second is lost forever. You're not going to recuperate it. And you say, no, I'm going to have another life. Yeah, but what kind of life? Yeah, your seconds and minutes and hours of talking unnecessary things, you're going to pay it. You're not going to take a body of a very advanced devotees. Because why? Because you did prajalpa. And then, but the more you talk about Krishna, the more, if any life you're going to get, then it's going to be life of a brahmana in a very advanced family. So again, morality, better a moral victory than better a moral defeat than an immoral victory, because you are going to pay it in this life or another life. Or secret thing, I'm silent, but then it's called wisdom. Silence means only talking about Krishna. Okay, I think, Yamuna, I think this is the last question we have today. Again, about prasadam. Yeah. This is a
There's also a question in the chat as well.
sorry
There's some question in the chat. I sent you a question, Maharaj.
at the last moment, I think, because I
Yeah. Excuse me.
I get a class tomorrow. Sandeep. Ashfield. Okay. Okay, let me first talk about prasadam, health issues related to their diet. A doctor, can you please read your question?
Yes, Gurudev, just give me a moment to look it up here. Okay.
But I can.
My device takes a moment, but I'm getting there. Hold on.
Oh, this is Mukunda Vaidya, not Mukunda Madhava. So what is your question? I don't.
Oh, Guru Maharaj, you put it in the Zoom chat, not the
No,
WhatsApp.
Maharaj, this is Mukunda Madhava, one of your
I know you are
disciples,
Mukunda
your
Madhava.
fallen disciple. Yeah.
Yeah, I know you are Mukunda. You're very different from Mukunda Vaidya. Yes, a
The,
white beard. You
the
lucky.
thing is, you don't love me anymore. That's why you don't recognize me.
No, you're my favorite. And Mataji Lavang has been very lucky. Okay, Yamuna, can you read it?
Found the question, yes. I have another question related to prasadam. Sometimes devotees have health issues related to their diet. A doctor may give recommendations that a patient must decide whether or not to follow. If a devotee is having digestive issues and does change their diet to include boga, not generally permitted for offering to the deities, should they still offer it in some way?
Okay. So there are, again, most of your questions have different answers depending from the level of the answer. For instance, prasadam, it is transcendental, it's not material. When offered with love and devotion, bhaktya prayachati, offered with devotion, it is not material. So why sometimes prasadam, why devotees have often digestive or physical problem? Because prasad is transcendental, devotees are not. So when the devotees is not transcendental, means we are not pure, then the prasada may work in your body just like any other food. And that's why even the devotees, they need to adjust their diet to feel better, to be more more more, how you say, more healthy. Okay. So, but you're also talking about boga that is prohibited. Like, is a doctor, you go to a doctor and say you should eat meat. I remember it happened to me. Not me personally, but to my wife. She was pregnant. She was waiting for my son, who today is 46. And the doctor said, if you don't eat meat, then your son, your child, will be unhealthy, will not grow completely, will be idiot. It was very, very heavy. So I have a very strong desire to take this 185, centimeter son, big, to the doctor and say, this is the child that was supposed to not to grow up like everybody else. That's they don't know what they are talking about. Being in India now, I've been in India for not only this last 7 months that I've been in India. This time is different because I had to cope with my health. I was very serious. My eyes and my diabetes was very serious. So I went to doctor. I found a wonderful doctor. He never told me, to eat meat or this kind of things, because they know, they studied the right medicine. So you should find a good doctor. And so generally, all the boga not permitted. If it's not permitted, it's because it's not good. Okay? But let's say other type of boga, like onions or ajo, como se dice, how you say in English?
Garlic.
Garlic, there are some medicine that contains onions or especially garlic, because garlic is not a food. Garlic is a medicine. Garlic is in many Ayurvedic medicines because it does good to your health. If, I would say, if dosed in the right way. So garlic and onion is not considered a vegetarian. Okay, it's not the vegetarian food, and there are several stories. Actually, onion and garlic are compared to cow meat if eaten. If used for medicine, that's different. Just like the cow skin when she dies, naturally is used in mridanga. Our mridangas are cow's skin. So, and you should find a good um, doctor who can tell you what to do with a real medicine. And of course, you don't live in India, so you don't have good doctors. But try to contact good doctors by email or by now the facilities that we have now. In the past, we never had. You know, what is the difference between talking on Zoom with a doctor in India and being physically present? You know, you can send him all the analysis in India or with a PDF. It takes 10 seconds to arrive and everything. So now Krishna has given us this wonderful medium, and you can have many, many facilities. In general, you should be careful with your body, but don't believe doctors when they tell you that you should eat certain things, especially eggs or fish. Okay, so last question. After we have live questions, if you have questions. So let me see what Mukunda Madhava Prabhu has written. Notes. No, there is nothing.
It's right here in the Zoom chat.
I cannot find the Zoom chat. Chat, okay, but nothing comes out. So Mukunda Madhava Prabhu, why don't you read it?
Okay, the scene isn't working now, so that's why you can see some. So, but the question is, we can manifest a state of humble in any circumstance or just when we are pure indeed? This is the question.
I don't understand. Can you say it again?
I said my most humble obeisances first.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So my question is, you were explaining many things, so
Okay.
I don't
Now read.
I don't know if I
Now
understood
read it.
correctly what you really.
Yeah, I can read now your question. It
Yeah.
open. No,
Right.
there is no pure and impure only. There are many degrees of purity and impurity, just like
Yeah.
there is not only black and white, there are different degrees of gray. So you can be humble, you can be more humble, you can be so, but we should have in mind the desire to be purely humble, but not only humble. Everything in our life should be pure. Only in that way we can arrive to perfection. Yeah. So Krishna will test you so many times. Sometimes it's funny. Before I said something that maybe it was a little funny or maybe nobody understood it. But I heard several times that the body says, "Oh, I am very humble," you know. You know, nobody laughs. It means that I'm not good in saying jokes. Anyway, if you are humble, you don't think that you are very humble. If you are humble, you say what Bhaktivinoda Thakur says. Bhaktivinoda Thakur say, "I'm the worst of the worst." This is being humble. Okay, and then there are, especially when you live in a temple. Living in a temple is a very unique experience that I advise everybody to do, at least for a period. Because when you live with other devotees, things happen that in your house will never happen. You don't have the chances the same opportunity that you can have in the temple. I saw so many things like you're not you're not humble. You always give instructions. That means you should not talk. That is these foolish things. And if you are humble, you should not give class, because if you are humble, you don't think you can teach anything to anyone. There are this kind of nonsense, um, nonsense interpretation of what it means to be humble, or to be pure, or to be a disciple, or to be this kind of thing. There are many disciples, for instance, that take disciple. Oh, I am a disciple, but they will choose only the most important guru in ISKCON because I am a disciple. There is some Krishna Das there. He has 2 or 3 disciples. Nobody knows him. Who cares about him? I'm not going to take initiation. Nobody knows him. That means that nobody knows the guru means nobody will respect me. So being humble is a practice, just like the example of the gym. If you want your health, then you have to practice. But if you try to avoid being with devotees or with circumstances that your ego will be attacked, then you will never be really humble. It will be only a facade. You are humble because you want everybody to glorify you. The real humbleness is when you stay with people who, don't care about you and all these things. Okay, so now we have some 5 or 10 minutes of free
Thank you, Maharaj. Nice answer. Appreciate so much.
Questions that I'm sure you have. Just a second. Give me. You don't have questions. That's bad. Oh, Mata Jitavanga.
In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, I've read about how Krishna expands his Balaram, and then from Balaram expands Vasudeva, Aniruddha, Pradyumna. And I was wondering, is this Vasudeva that we read about when we're talking about Vasudeva, Aniruddha? Is this the same Vasudeva that is Krishna's father in Krishna Lila?
Oh, Vasudeva is a very common name. That means the Lord of Vaikuntha, Vasu. Vasu means resident, and Deva means the Supreme Person. So it's a very common, there is a Vishnu Vasudeva, and there is Krishna called Vasudeva. Be careful. Krishna name is not Vasudeva, it's Vasudeva. The first A is long. When the first A is long, there are several ways to see the son of. One way is that when you have a vowel that is the A, the first short A vowel in the name, then the way to say the son of is to make the first vowel long. So Vasudeva means the son of Vasudeva. And who is the son of Vasudeva? Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva. Yeah, Srimad Bhagavatam, who Srimad Bhagavatam, who is talking about Srimad Bhagavatam? The whole 10th canto is talking about Krishna. So Vasudeva, who can be the son of Vasudeva? Is Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate. This Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, if you are a Brahminical, if you are not a taste of reading Bhagavatam, it says everything. Om means is Vedic. That's Om. Namo, Bhakti. Om Namo Bhagavate, the Supreme Personality. Vasudeva, the son of Vasudeva, is the Bhagavata, is the Supreme Personality of God. Om Namo Bhagavate. The whole Bhagavatam has been declared in just this phrase. The Bhagavatam treats that the son of Vasudeva is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then the first verse, it tells you who he is. What is the first word? Of the first verse? Anyway, my memory is terrible. So, and so it's very important to, when we read, especially this is a philosophy for intelligent people. So it's not enough if you want to be a Brahmana, if you want to be a preacher. If you want just chant Hare Krishna and be happy, like Srila Prabhupada said, everything is okay. But if you want to preach, especially a certain level, you have to learn one thing. You have to learn to put everything into context. This is called Samanvaya. Samanvaya. This is Vyasadeva wrote the Vedanta Sutra. In the Vedanta Sutra is taught, among other things, the science of contextualizing. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Everything is there. Vasudeva, the son of Vasudeva, not Vasudeva Vishnu. Some ignorant people, very ignorant people, says, no, Vasudeva means Vishnu. Vishnu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Vishnu's name is not Vasudeva. Vishnu's name is Vasudeva. There are two different words. If you read them in Devanagari, they are two different words. The problem when you take a Devanagari, a word written in Devanagari script, and you put it into the Roman letters, then you don't get it very clearly, you know. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudeva. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the son of Vasudeva Sri Krishna. Okay, so I really enjoyed being with you. If in particular, but in Abby, since the first time that I see her in our conference, welcome. And if she has a question, otherwise we will close here. I still have your Mahabharata that you ordered from me. You remember you ordered a Mahabharata?
I did?
You did.
Oh,
And then you left San Antonio. It's a joke.
yeah.
Don't worry about that.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you very much. And we'll see tentatively in 2 weeks. Okay? Hare Krishna. All glory to Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah. His Grace Manana Maharaj Prabhu ki.
Jai.